Here we are, the 1st of July, 3 days away from the 4th of July. And you see this really cool cannon here? Yeah, that's mine. I'm going to be celebrating the 4th of July with it. It's called a carbide cannon. And this one's made by the folks at bigbangcannons.com. They haven't paid for any promotion or anything. I just think they make a hell of a product, and their service is awesome. Anyway, that said and done, this thing's a little bit louder than my 45 1911. No gunpowder, water, little calcium carbide, 6 seconds of patience, hit the button, and kablam! But that's another matter. Let's get down to brass tacks on today. Today I'm talking about the liberation of our neighbors to the south. Now understand, you've got a war going on between the Ukraine and Russia. Okay. You got a war going on between Israel and Hamas. Okay. You've got military action between the U.S., well, not anymore, but Israel and Iran. Okay. You got all these regional wars, and we are ignoring what is probably the single most dangerous front, and that is Mexico. That's right. Mexico to the south of us. I mean, come on. Headless bodies hung from bridges, mass slaughter. Terror is reigning crazy, as are the drug lords busy battling for power to take over the rest of Mexico. Don't you think it's time we stepped in? The Mexican people are fine people. They're all being held prisoner right now. You understand, Mexico is a failed nation. And south of the border, chaos rules, with headlines about decapitated men and women hung from highway bridges and disemboweled bodies hanging from ropes on the sides of buildings. Mexico has become a conscious, unconscious, whatever you want to call it, it's a living hell. It's a nightmare. It's gotten so bad that any trip to Mexico is a life-threatening event. Nobody is safe in Mexico. Not Mexicans, and sure as hell not gringo tourists. Gringos Americanos like us. No. Mexico is a failed nation state, lacking effective law enforcement, lacking judiciary, lacking government. Run entirely by drug lords and terrorists, Mexico is now only a terrorist nation and a state sponsor of terrorism. So why aren't we going after them? You know, the United States, we sat by for decades, either unwilling or unable to stem the rising tide of terror originating in Mexico. I mean, 130,000 Americans died last year alone from the fentanyl they've been shipping over the border and poisoning us with. Not just kids, but old people too. It's gotten so damn bad in Mexico that they've been exporting their crime to the United States. They're making money on this. Their illegal aliens are the purveyors of human trafficking, drugs, rape, murder, unspeakable violence. You understand? A great number of these illegal aliens, I refuse to call them migrants, these illegal aliens have strong known ties to terrorism, drug cartels, drug lords, gangland, kingpins, and other lawless entities which have been flooding into our country by the tens of millions. You got that straight? Tens of millions. We got, 20 million of these bastards right now. Cockroaches in the corner. At last, something is being done. I'll say that. Thank you, Mr. President. President Donald J. Trump. But there's no way in hell, Mr. President, sir, there's no way we're going to catch up soon enough without a full-scale military operation. The sheer numbers of trespassing aliens, the numbers alone demand military action. We're sharing our border with an enemy nation bent on our death and destruction. Their, quote-unquote, air quotes, government hates the very ground we walk on. They hate the air we breathe, and they believe that they have legal claim to much of the land we have now. They're not going to rest until we are they. Do you understand? Back when Joe Biden was bumbling around the White House, yeah, our weekend at Bernie's president, he did absolutely nothing to prevent the spread of Mexican-based terrorism in our country. In fact, Biden openly encouraged this invasion, making decisions or having them made for him and authoring executive orders or having Jill do it for him to expedite the flow of illegal aliens. These trespassers came in under greater numbers than ever because the Biden administration wanted them here. His political party, the Democrats, had a goal, which was to flood the U.S., flood us with illegals, just uncountable numbers. Then turn around and say, oh, there are too many to get rid of, so let's just make them citizens. Boom, 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 swear them in, make being an American citizen is a joke, okay? This would give the Democrats, the party of evil, the party of Satan, an insurmountable edge in the electoral process. And America would very quickly become a one-party state. You want a one-party state? Think China, Russia, North Korea, Venezuela, Cuba, and a host of other one-party states. Is that what you really want? Is that what you want? Come on, wake the hell up. In just the past 4 years, there's been a flood, estimated around 20 million illegals, who poured in over our border, a human tsunami. Yes, we've got our work cut out for us when it comes to getting rid of these bastards. We have situations where ignorant visitors, I'm afraid too many are U.S. citizens, go to Mexico, where they are routinely robbed, kidnapped, murdered, tortured, held for ransom. Far too often, those who commit these crimes are elements of the Mexican government. They're Mexican soldiers, Mexican police officers, Mexican special agents. Yeah, I can see that being a special agent, trying to hide with a sombrero and a bandolier full of bullets. Oh, let's get back to it. This is not a funny matter. The only solution here is to declare war on Mexico. You heard me. Declare a state of war with Mexico and physically liberate their suffering masses. It demands an American military presence and action. It's time to liberate the Mexican people and destroy the drug cartels, the ones that are running this failed nation state and imprisoning the very people. I spent many years in Mexico, and they're fine people, and they're all prisoners of a government run amok. Only through military action, like we did with Japan and Germany at the close of World War II, okay, if we were to gradually hand them back a legitimate government, first occupying them, okay, then Mexico and the U.S. might once again live together in peace. They don't have a government right now, and they're not going to have one unless somebody forces the need of a government. We can't go in and say, here's your government. We go in, we have garrison troops, we occupy military law, martial law, and over a few years allow them to slowly drift back into a constitutional government where they choose their own leaders, and like we did with Mexico and Germany, eventually we pull out. Think a minute. You begin by diplomatically flooding Mexico with messages of hope and pending rescue from the terrorists that hold them now. Okay, assuming this is how we do it, here's how I'd go. Okay, with precision airstrikes, drone attacks, and artillery, we destroy their military, militia, and major police installations. This minimizes their control over the people and enhances our chances of a swift military victory. Also, we destroy their key infrastructure, including military installations, of course. Do so with as little damage as possible. Knock out the power distribution, but not the power plant, not the producer, so that once we've occupied the area, we can quickly restore utilities such as power, water, and gas. Knock out their distribution systems, but don't knock out their sources. position mobile artillery to offer advanced protection for our armored columns. Behind this artillery barrage, you have heavy armor, tanks in behind the cannons. Their job is to clear the path for infantry. Right behind them, send in Green Beret and Marine Ranger units to clean up so the Army can slip right in there. As Marine and Army Rangers move forward inland, the U.S. Army comes right behind them, secures, occupies, and establishes garrisons in captured towns and cities. Declare Mexico a captured and occupied state under the jurisdiction of the United States of America. As we did with Germany, as we did with Japan. Emphasize that this is a rescue operation. This is not an invasion. That's important. Listen again. It's not an invasion. It's a rescue operation. Promise the people of Mexico a new constitutional government once things have settled down. Again, it worked in Japan, it worked in Germany. Why not Mexico? In return, Mexico's rich oil and gas fields, that should provide sufficient income to the U.S. as to secure repayment for the tremendous expense of liberating these people, a people unwilling or incapable of rescuing themselves. When you fall down and get hurt, they send an ambulance to help you. Is that ambulance free? Not unless you're an illegal alien. That ambulance costs money and someone's got to pay for it. When the fire department comes and rescues you from a burning building, someone's got to pay the bill. So when we rescue Mexico, they got to pay the bill. We might also charge a mild tax of some sort to offset these expenses so we can speed up the true independence of Los Estados Unidos Mexicanos, the United States of Mexico. We can bring them back and help make them a real country again. And from the very many Mexican people I know and I have known, they want nothing more than to live a free and safe life. Their government's not going to do it. So it's time we did, because if we don't, mark my word, a military action on our border, an October surprise, would not be a pretty picture. Again, I'm advocating that we move into Mexico militarily, call it an invasion if you will, with the goal of liberating the people. That's my thought. Muchas gracias, mis amigos y amigas.